Hi guys, I'm ExactChaos and welcome back to another episode of City Skylines. This is Prospect Valley and we're growing. And I think the intent of this episode is going to be to really expand our population a little bit. There's a lot happening already, but I do think we need tons more suburbs. So what I'm going to do in this area between the rail and the university towards the river, we're going to do higher density over here. And then I'm going to also try and expand our suburbs a little bit on this side. And there'll be some kind of a transition here in the future. But what I'm trying to do is get a bit more population going so that we've got a little bit more to deal with in terms of traffic. So we can do some major projects over here and have it means something, have it do something actually. So let's as a starting point quickly sort out some of these. Some of these little roads, some of these roads we've got over here. And I think that'll be a good one for us to do. Don't necessarily need that to snap. It doesn't really matter. We'll try and sort out as best we can, try and get everybody nice and comfortable with some piping, some water. There'll be a fair bit more expansion in due course, but anyway, for the time being, we'll just leave it as is. Now, let's get out of this view, and I'm quickly going to go ahead and expand this network. So the two things that I was kind of thinking is maybe we run this road over here, and we have like a weird 5-way intersection. The other option, of course, is and then that'll potentially become a roundabout, maybe a grade separated roundabout, that kind of thing. The other option, of course, is for us to run this guy all the way, so kind of twist it back in there and then add it in that way. And I think that's probably better. So let's find that road that we're using. I think it's just a stock standard one, isn't it? What I'm going to do is I'm going to disable zoning as we go. And I think if we can run it pretty straight off of there, yeah, that's the one. Ooh, are we dropping this for some reason? We seem to be. That's not the road I'm after, actually. I am after this one. I think that's the standard one. But what I just want to make sure is I definitely don't want this guy to be elevated in any way. Oh, well, elevation steps should be 3 meters, but what I'm trying to do is just page that up like so. Okay, there we go. So we'll do that. That is, in fact, the road that I'm after. Nice. And that's been dropped down again for some reason. But I certainly don't want that, right? I certainly don't want that. Let's try that one more time. Sometimes I don't quite get what it's trying to do. So I want to page it up so it's at the 0. There it goes, straight again. Let's page it up again. Ah, that was the one. And we are disabling zoning on it. So yeah, that looks tons better. These are pretty close together, but we'll see how we best utilize that. Now, what we will be doing is I think we should be trying to maximize our distance between intersections. I think that is about right. So we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll get ourselves a pretty square little section. Now, what we'll need to do is we'll just take this tool, the multi-tool, and we'll create the connection from there to there. Actually, from this side and from that side. And do we... Now, I can never remember what the button is that we need to do, but that's not quite right. So I would like us to, yes, improve our radii a little bit. So something like that, I think, is slightly more appropriate. Alternatively, it's just the one that we'll do. Nah, I think that's okay. Yeah, something like that. Is that too awkward? Let's cancel that. Let's try something else. Let's try, if we run this thing straight a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's almost more appropriate. Something like that. And now we'll just do, that's much better. We'll just do the one. Yeah, that's okay. That's going to be fine. Now this one, on the other hand, well, to be honest, this one could probably do the same thing. Ooh, we're in desperate need of workers over there. So let's pause it for a second. We can just run this thing pretty straight up to about, I think up to about there. And then what we'll do, actually, maybe a little bit more straight on this one. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Let's try it. Let's get rid of this tool, and instead we're going to do that. That is not bad, and I think it's appropriate. It doesn't look too weird. Now, what I also do is I'll also just run it straight over this way, and we'll kind of see where all of these things tie together. Maybe one big bridge connection that's going to come on over here. I think that's appropriate, and that should work quite well for us ultimately, I think. Anyway, that's a good starting point over there. Now, we need tons more people to come and start coming to live here. And hang on, I'll do this so that I don't scroll too quickly. Now, I want us to start running a little bit more on this side over here. Some more suburbs. So let's go with 2 wide. It is the one with this. Okay, what I'm going to try and do is let's see about crossing the rail. Yeah, that's not bad. So let's continue to run this straight for a fair bit. Actually, let's run it straight all the way down. So this will just be our extension of our suburb. So ultimately, that could become a really busy road if we don't provide many more additional connections from the one side to the other side. Now, what I think we'll do is we'll provide a connection over here, but again, very stock standard little connection that we're going to do. And I think that's the general idea that I would like to work on over here. Is we're just going to use very basic connections for the time being, until we get to a point where our traffic gets so crazy that we'll actually have a reason to be doing some big upgrades and things like that. So that's our basic structure. These are the 2 connection points. We could probably start doing a connection point from the other side also, but I think for the time being, that's going to be the way we're going to do it. Now, in the suburban context like this, and maybe what I should do is, and let's run that road up there, and we'll make that a roundabout. I think that's going to be an awesome little roundabout over there. So let's get the roundabout tool, which I believe is in here somewhere. Ooh, what is that? Grabber? Experimental. Now, what are we doing? A 2 lanes road? Yeah, probably about right. And radius, 40 meter radius is big. Maybe that's a little too big. Let's go down to 30 meter radius. Yeah, I think that's a slightly more appropriate one, which will still be a large roundabout, and it'll be a 2 lane. So that's okay. So there we go. That's pretty good. Did we want to use... Oh, I like it. It's actually really good. Did we want to use something else in terms of road in there? I don't know. And I'm not going to worry about that right this minute. Now, let's switch off whatever we've got going on over here, and we select a few different types of roads. So I'm going to use some of these. So one of the things we definitely need to do is run a bit of a road, starting maybe slightly further away from the rail. We'll do a little bit of this, and then on the other hand, I want to run it pretty close to the rail on the other side. So if we come up here somewhere, that is pretty close to the rail. Let's get one more tap away. So So that was kind of what I had in mind. And what we'll do is we'll do a very similar thing over here. We'll get it a little bit further away. We'll run it pretty straight next to the rail. And what we'll do is we will try and tie that off probably around here somewhere. Something like that should work. Now, we don't necessarily need to have, we can do a bit of a stagger. And maybe a stagger is not the end of the world. So let's do a bit of a stagger. We'll give it a bit of room. A stagger is a whole other set of problems in terms of these side roads. But we'll keep that going and see how that ultimately looks. And we'll run a bit of a road over there. Now, this is kind of planning what we're going to do to start filling in our suburbs. And this is effectively planning with our rail connection, right? That's saying that the rail was there first, now the suburbs are coming in, and we're seeing what we can do in terms of sorting that out. Now, if we use this multi-tool, now I like the multi-tool, create a connection mode, create a loop, arrange at circle. What is this one? Arrange at align mode. I think they're not properly named, some of these. Create a curve mode. And I think let's do that. Let's create a curve. We'll select that one. We'll select this one. Come on. What do you mean? There we go. That's a perfect curve. Look at that. And it's a nice curve that's slightly different to what we're used to. It's not that stock standard kind of curve that we usually get. Now we'll use the multi-tool. We'll do the other create a connection tool. And we'll say, come here, go there. And I don't quite get why it always tries to do that. Now, these guys, I'm going to increase the radii again because I like it to be nice and smooth. There we go. That's awesome. Whether that is optimal for our residential layout, that's something completely different. That's not what we're talking about over here. Now let's go back a step over there. This one will be pretty easy to do, but let's get this guy going. If we go in there, and we'll come back that way, and we'll come back this way, and there we go. Nice, and that actually works really well. Again, what we'll do is we'll try and smooth it out. Oh, look at that. That's awesome. I love that. That tool makes a major difference in terms of how you can do stuff. Now, this little stagger is going to cause us tremendous problems if it gets busy. Now, let's try it nonetheless. I don't mind getting a little bit of problems going on. Now, let's increase our radii yet again. Get a very similar thing going. We'll almost touch them over here. That's pretty good. There we go. That looks, I like that actually. I like that. This area be crazy for traffic if we continue in that vein. Now, with those roads over there, now let's see what we're going to do with the rest of our layout over here. Now, we can do a fair bit of additional access points onto this road, and I'm quite comfortable to do that. But I don't want them all to be like the tree line stuff. So let's go now for maybe a stock standard one. Okay, and what we'll say is we'll try and do one. Yeah, we'll do one big long one over here. I like that. That's not bad. And then we'll see about how we tie in. We could, of course, just tie in. So if we kind of do that, I think even that is going to be slightly better than the standard. So we'll do something like that. That gives us a little bit of a funny angle over there, but it's going to look a little bit more interesting. And then let's grab something slightly different. Let's get one of these roads. Now, of course, what we want to make sure we do. Okay, and what I definitely want to do something like this. Yeah, I think that is about right. And then we'll tie them together also. Okay, so if we do that and we curve these two in, I think that's going to be okay. So I'm just playing around with some road layouts at the moment. Come on. That's good. I don't mind that. We're going to do a very similar thing over here. Come on. Look at that. That's actually pretty cool. And it gives us a pretty decent little layout. Now let's what else can we do? Well, let's retain our slightly more standard approach to things over here. So we'll run. That's okay. I would, however, rather like you to be not doing that. If I instead, let's go back. If we go right dead center over there, yeah, that's working a little bit better. That's going to give us a slightly different view of things. Now, we do need to bear in mind that we can only zone up to this much, and that's going to be okay. But in this general area, we're going to need a little bit more. Why you don't want to do that? Well, what we'll do is we'll start it off like this. Yeah, you know what? That's going to be okay. We're going to run it up all the way that way. We'll do a little something like that at the end there. We give it a bit of a quirk there. And now the question is, do we can do some funny things with some of these roads. Do we disconnect one of them? Stuff like that. I wouldn't mind disconnecting. You know what? Let's disconnect that one. I think that's an appropriate. Now that's a little bit of a suburb layout going on over there. It's not exactly perfect. It'll have some open spots, but it'll do pretty well, I think. Now let's see about continuing this one straight through here. I'm probably spending a lot of time on this, but I don't know. I find it fun. What we'll do is we'll continue this one. Let's do that. Let's go 2 in. Can we do 2 in over here? We could, and you know what we can do now? We can actually curve it around and tie it in there. I don't know if everybody else enjoys doing road layouts, but I enjoy it. Maybe that's not a super big surprise. Not quite where I wanted it to be. That's the one. That's the one. There we go. Now, what I'd also like to do is... we should probably just tie this one back to this side. And again, what we'll do... We'll do that. Now, how about that? It's a little bit of a suburb road over there with some more intersections that it's going to have to deal with. And what we'll do is we can run this section a little straight again. Give me my stock standard road. We're going to run you as a very straight line through here. And to go up to about there, and then we curve it out a little bit. I think we do. Even though it's probably curving slightly to the wrong direction, but it'll at least look the part. It'll look the part. There we go. So this is my idea of a grid-like suburban pattern. It's not a grid, but it's grid-like, and that's kind of the idea. So what I could do is, I think, we could again make a bit of a start over here. and probably have start over there, and what we'll do is we'll just curve that road in again. And I kind of wonder, is this exactly the same as the other one? Is this tool the same as that tool? I think it is. I think it is. It does the same thing, basically. And now we'll just kind of square off a few other bits and pieces. So what I'll do is I'll grab this tool on this side. Probably move it away a little bit. Get that going. Same thing over here. We'll move it away a little bit. See about tying it like so. And now I'm actually going to use this multi-tool again. So if we do curve over here, come on, from there to there, how would that actually look? I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Gives us a little something to go on. Now let's get a bit of a standardized road going. That's actually not bad. Now let's tie these two together. If only we could find it. There we go. We'll tie those two together. I could. Nah, let's leave that one as is. Now the question is, do we do anything else other than that? This shouldn't provide, well, this could provide some rat running and stuff. So we could ban some turns to make this work a little bit better. Also, I'm thinking, in terms of what we are already doing, is let's just get a straight connection from that one up to there. I think that's about appropriate. And then we'll see. Some bigger blocks will obviously be quite useful. Now let's do some stuff. So this is as a starting point, we'll do some zoning. Now what I'm keen on doing is providing, most of this needs to be residential, and I haven't got the zoning activated, by the way, so we'll have to come back and do that. So actually, let's not do that then. What I'm going to do, just for the rest of this episode, let's just like 10 minutes left. I'm just going to go and finish off this area and maybe a little bit over here. And it'll just be about building road layouts, I think, is going to be appropriate. So let's see about running that one pretty straight for a fair distance still. Now the question is, did we want to at some point provide an additional access point? I think not. I think let's just use the one so that we can see how bad we can get the traffic to go, and then we'll move it on from there. Now what I would like to do is try and optimize our layouts a little bit by providing a slightly more square way of doing it. So where we can do some 90 degrees, and that will not be too crazy. What I do, however, dislike is this is too many intersections on this road. I'd rather we go in the opposite direction. So I'd rather we do a little something like this, where we create a little something like that. I'm going to go ahead and tie off some of these. Get me some standard stuff as well. Yeah, that's not what I... actually, what we could do is we could run... Yeah, we can run that one through there. Let's keep going straight on this guy. So this one will be like our collector road through here. Yeah, it's a pretty good one, and it's actually not connecting to any of the major roads, so it'll take a little bit of traffic, but nothing too substantial, I think. And now what we can do is, oh, I love it. I love it. Let's go get these roads. I'm going to extend. Actually, that one can work straight in through there. That's okay. This one can go up to about there. I think that's fine. And what we'll do is we'll... Just like that. There we go. That I'm not opposed. Ooh, that's the wrong style of road. So I'll just make sure that we've got the same style running through there. And that's pretty good. What I could, however, do is just go back to these guys and just get our standard guy going through here, just so we don't have too much in the line of all kinds of funny road styles. It kind of overwhelms the eye a little bit. But yeah, that's a kind of a slightly improved grid situation. Now, what we need to be mindful of, that road I'm going to stop over there. What we could do is we could run one of them through. So let's get one of these guys. We'll get it to go straight out of the intersection. And then what we'll do is we will kind of tie it a little bit more, a little bit back. Yeah, and I think that's going to work. And then we'll tie that one up there. Yeah, that's awesome. And then this guy, we'll do a little bit of this. And we will again see about tying it in over here. Nice. So that actually works quite well, I would think. It's a little tight over here, but yeah, we may have to. Oh, and then what we'll do is I'm going to grab just like normal roads, and we'll see about providing a few. I don't mind it being slightly off-center like that. And what we'll also do is probably start it something like that, and we may actually run it all the way through there. And there we go. We'll finish off a few bits and pieces here. So something like that. Let's see what we can do to finalize this. That's okay. I don't mind it. Will this work? It will. Excellent. So that's some interesting shapes that we're making use of over here. Now, what we need to do is finalize how this looks like at the river's edge. That's kind of how you're going to do the road layouts. Is you're going to have to kind of figure out what your edge is, and then you kind of color in from the edge, basically. So our edge condition over here is we could, and I think what we'll do is we'll just terminate this at like a T-junction slightly away from the river. We could make a fairly big riverfront development over here. So I think in this area, we're going to go back and get ourselves a bit of a boulevard. And I think the tree-lined boulevard is the one for us, right? Inside, outside. I like the idea of doing the outside tree-lined boulevard. So let's, and I want to make it pretty straight. Let's do that. How does that look? Oh, I actually don't mind it too much. I don't know if we're gonna be able to maintain that with like flare out lanes and things like that, but we'll try. We'll do what we can. Now, again, selfishly, I would like to make sure that we do a little bit of this. Leave a little bit of room there. Did I? No, I'm not actually changing the height. We could ultimately, you know what? We could ultimately have a little something go over the top here. But for the time being, let's not worry too much about that. What I am interested in doing is let's use our multi-tool and get a connection going on. This is just a curve. It's just going to be a curve. So let's do that and do this and see what actually comes out of it. Not on that side, please, but on that side. Oh, guys. Oh, and it is creating a bit of a tunnel. Interesting. Interesting. I actually don't mind this curvature at all, though I'm not a big fan of the tunnel, but we'll see what that looks like. Yeah, it's a bit of a tunnel underneath that. I'm super impressed that the tool actually does that. What I'm going to do, however, is I'm probably gonna get rid of that. Because I'd rather, and then what I'll do is I'll get rid of that. And what we'll do is we'll get this to tie in. So that's the one. You know what? We'll just use the curve tool again. Curve it from here, please, to there. Why are you doing the whole tunnel thing? Can't you just be... Oh, I should have just done that. Forced a ground connection through there. Ooh, it's a... Oh, you know what? This could be really cool. Because what we'll do is we'll just kind of fly the rail over. My goodness, that's going to be really awesome. That's okay. I think that's going to be appropriate in this area. And then we'll just see how we tie in all of these other roads to this general area. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Now let's get our rail connection back. Rail is going to be this guy. And I think for the time being... Really? Oh, it's a curved section, actually. That's not bad. If I place that back in there, is it really too low? It feels like it should be fine. Let's switch on anarchy. Build it. Oh, actually, click it. So now it's clicked, right? It may be a little low, actually. It may be a little low, but I'm not a big... I mean, this is super cool. We're going to leave it as is, and if I need to, I'll drop the road a little bit, because I think that is looking stunning over there. That is really doing well. Okay, and now we can quite easily... So once you get your edge conditions sorted out, you can start filling in the other bits and pieces that you would like to do. And this needs to be just that right over there. So if we do maybe do something like that, is that too awkward? I think that might be a little too awkward. Let's do that. Let's give ourselves a little bit more room, because this is a bigger style of road. So we would like it to be a slightly more natural. There we go. That's pretty natural right there. Now, this guy, I'm almost tempted to terminate it somewhere. But let's finish off this one first. That's the one. And in my mind... that needs to go all the way back over there before we start dipping. Before we start dipping too much. All right. So if we go something like this, I'll trim that. We'll also trim that one back a little. And now if we do... That's just fine. Yeah, Now, is that an appropriate one? We will need at least one more kind of road access point over here. Let's grab one of these guys. We're going to run it straight through there. Yeah, probably something like that. That's a pretty good connection there. You know what? I'm just going to... We'll want the other one. We'll want this one. I'm just going to tie it in over there, and we'll close that off, and then we'll see how we finish it off on this side. But there we go. That's a pretty decent little suburb layout to start with. Those connections are looking pretty good. This one, I think we'll just be able to run it in. So let's run it in over here. Yeah, I think that's okay. We don't want it to be, it doesn't have to be symmetrical or anything like that, and we don't want to get too crazy with it. So I think something like that, that's going to be a nice natural curvature. You want to make sure that that stays on 0 as best we can. That's going to do that. Oh, look at that tie-in over there. That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, we don't know what we're doing with this yet. Ultimately, this might be more appropriate to turn back and become a bit of a bridge over here, and that could become a bridge over there, something like that. So let's turn this guy back. Grab me the guy. Where is it? What is the road connection that I'm after? I'm looking for the stock standard one, which is this one. Now let's go page it up so it's not on the ground. Let's give it a bit of a bit of this, and then we'll straighten it up. Tie it in there, and I'm fairly comfortable with that. I'm fairly comfortable with that, and that could then go and become a bridge from there. Whether that, in fact, is connected there or not, or whether this becomes a pretty major intersection or not, that's okay. But it does split things off a little bit. That's pretty good. There we go. We need a fair bit more filling in. So what I will do, I'm actually going to end the episode over here. It's run a fair bit. What I will do, and I know we're not achieving much, but I'd rather we get ready for everything. What I will do is, in between episodes, I will go and lay out a lot of the other roads. I think the bulk of the other roads for suburban expansion, and this will be a slightly more dense, but for suburban expansion. And then from there, we can start populating our stuff and just see how that goes. We'll probably not tie into this highway bridge over here. I don't know. We'll have to see how we tie in. Maybe we cut across here somewhere and tie in over there, something like that, because this is a city layout, of course, right? So what we'll do is I'm definitely not going to do the other side, but what I'll do is I'll fill in the rest of this, and I'll fill in the rest of that, and then we'll see some major expansion, and hopefully we can get everything to work. Well, we can get a lot of more traffic to have to run through a few connections, and that's the idea, right? A rail connection over there, a rail connection over here, a rail connection over there, one connection over here. So effectively getting from the one side to the other side will become, have a few bottlenecks that we'll have to deal with. And how we do that is ultimately the fun part for me. Okay, so guys, if you've enjoyed it, and if you have some ideas, please hit that like button. I don't like the fact that this is recessed into the ground over here. Again, some of the tools gives us a little bit of grief from time to time. Oh, if you've enjoyed it, please hit that like button. I know we haven't done much, but it's coming. It is coming. Some big, interesting things are coming. See you next time. Bye-bye.